thanks for stopping by. I'm making a Mother's Day card, and usually I do die cuts from like Silhouette or Cricut or even just my dies, but this time I'm going to use my distress markers. I'm using the Wildflower Meadow. This is a Stampin' Up stamp, and it is rubber. Let me just show you what I got here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using my distress markers. I'm going to be coloring all the flowers, and then I'm going to use the Misty for totally different reason than I think it should be used for, but it's what's working for me, to stamp the images. Now the first thing I'm going to do is, this is a piece of watercolor paper, and I think it's like 100 pound or something. It's something I got at Michael's. It doesn't matter really, whatever pound you use. So I'm going to set that right on top of here just to give myself an idea of where I want this to be positioned on the front of the card. Now I've got the little hummingbird right there, so I want to bring it down so it's kind of in the middle. Now it's not going to show everything. I'm not going to be able to get the stems in here, but that's okay. That's not a big deal to me. So, all right, so I put a piece of Scotch tape right there, and I'm going to take the Misty. I just bumped it. Straighten that out again. And, okay, sorry about that. Let's just fix that up. That should be good. Actually, I'm going to put it over just a little bit. Now, there's the reason why I'm being so picky. And it looks pretty even. Okay, so bring it down, and I'm just going to use this top plastic acrylic part to hold on to the watercolor paper, and I'm lifting it up just to make sure that it is lined up, and it is. All right, so let's get started on doing the coloring. Let's do the hummingbird in this beautiful Gather Twigs. For some reason, I cannot find my black Ranger Distress marker. I moved some things around in my craft room, but I kept all my markers and things like that together, so it's around somewhere. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to do the larger flowers in this color here, which is Dusty Concord. I'm going to be using the thicker point and just coloring those in. Just like so. Now I'll try to do this quickly. The one good thing about this, or at least the method I'm using, it's not going to be exactly precise, or what am I trying to say? You know, it's not going to be a clear stamped image, and that's what you get sometimes with your distress markers. Okay, so that purple's done. Then I'm going to go with my yellowish color, which is the mustard seed, and I'm going to use the big tip again, and I'll be putting that on these flowers here just to keep it consistent with the flower style. That's different, and I believe I got all the ones I wanted with yellow. If you want it a little darker, just go over it again. Great. Now I'm going to do, there's these little bulbs down here, I'm going to call them, because I don't know what they're really called. I'm going to do those in this pretty broken china. And there's a little bit of a stem part right there, so I'm going to try to avoid that because I do want to use my green on here. It looks like my broken china is just about dry. And I think I have another one here. This is Stormy Sky. Okay, so let's try the Stormy Sky, see if that comes out a little darker. I made the mistake of storing my distress markers up like this. They need to be stored flat, because if they're up like this, any ink that's up on this tip right here is going to drain down. So when you go to use it, it's going to be like it's dry. So I'm gonna store those in a different way. So for now, let's do the Stormy Sky. It'll be a little bit darker. That's fine. I think there was that with that. Okay, and then I'm going to do these extra little flowers here. I think this is the Spice Marmalade. Yep. And these right here. There is a middle section to this, so I want to do that a different color. You'll see here in a minute. And I don't see any more that is like that, just those two. Okay. And oh, I also want to do the butterfly. Now the butterfly, I'm going to go ahead and color. There's a little bit of detail on this, so I'm going to color part of it like that. And I'm going to come in with the blue. And you'll see how this kind of all fades in. It's going to look really pretty. And let's go ahead and put some purple on that guy. Okay, now we're going to go for the green. And this is for the stems. This is peeled paint. And just to keep myself on track, I'm just going to start here and work down. Get a little bit of green there. And I like the distress markers because they're sort of muted colors. If you want something that's more brilliant, I should say, you can use your memento markers if you want to do that. And just do a regular stamp. You wouldn't do the distress with the water, with the mementos. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple little dots of the green in the middle. Coming here, and then coming right here, going over here. It's okay that I went off there because I'm not going to stamp the dotted part of this. I'm going to keep that simple. This is actually kind of relaxing. I am rushing because I don't want this video to be too long, but coloring on stamps and stuff like that, it's very relaxing. And I'm just going to eyeball, make sure I got everything. Looks like I did. Then I got my little spritzer here. You can use any spritzer, you don't have to use this one. And I'm going to kind of block it and just do a couple little squirts. And then this is the reason why I taped this down. I'm going to bring this over. Now if I wouldn't have taped it down, there's a possibility that that paper would have moved. And I did not want that to happen. I'm pressing really, really good here. Oops. Or really well, I should correct myself. And there you have it. Is that beautiful? You don't want to do anything with this until it's dry, but I will start putting the other card together. I mean the other part of the card. I'm using some 110 pound, this is cream colored cardstock, and I wanted this watercolor paper to kind of pop a little bit. I know black is kind of like, ew, black, really? Well, yeah, I'm going to use black. I'm going to use my little precision tip because that's what's handy here on my desk. This black paper is just a scrap. Most likely it's Recollections because that is where I buy all my stuff, mostly at Michael's. It's literally like 2 miles down the road for me. Okay, so I'm going to just turn this to the side. It doesn't have a lot of border to it because I wanted part of the cream colored cardstock to show. But I did want a little bit of a division or dividing part. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take out my Stampin' Up! Stamp here. I will wash that off in a little bit because I'm about to use my Misty again. So I'm going to pull this off as it's still drying. Now I'm going to hold this up close to the camera because I'm noticing something that it did that I didn't intend it to do, but I thought it was really pretty. Remember this part of the stamp that has the little dotted Swiss things on it? It got a little bit of the color on it, so there's tiny little dots here and there. So I'm really excited about that. That was not expected at all. I'm going to put my pad back in and grab my card. I'm going to just flip this over and I'm going to stamp my Happy Mother's Day stamp. This is from Hero Arts. Had this for a super long time. I'm looking for a name. But I don't see it. Sorry about that. And I'm going to use a really cute stamp here that says, thinking of you especially today and wishing you a Mother's Day. A Happy Mother's Day. Oh, I don't need that. What am I doing? Okay, so I'm going to put that about right there. That kind of looks like the middle. I'm just going to set that down. I'm going to flip it over. Get that piece of Scotch tape off there. That's not going to help me right now. And I can use the grid lines to help straighten it out. So I see my grid lines right there. That just kind of gave me an idea of where I was going to put the stamp just by laying it on top of it there. No, that's not gonna work. I'll rather do it this way. I hope I'm not confusing everybody here. I'm seeing this kind of funky, like I might have touched the card with my fingers. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off. I can actually do an overlay on this, but just for the purposes of getting this done, I dropped a little magnet somewhere. I don't know where it's at. Okay, let's use some archival ink. It's Heidi Swap. Nice. I did a little gooey there, so I'm going to wipe that off. Now it looks like I got a pretty clean stamp there, so let's bring this around and give that a push. All right, not too worried about it. Oh gosh, it didn't work out. That's okay. Get my ink again. Might be because there's another layer of the card under there. I haven't done it like this yet, so that's okay. That's what the Misty's for. You can stamp in the same place over and over again. There it is, perfect. All right, so I think that my watercolor paper is probably dry. Okay, I have to show you what just happened right now because it's really very funny. I couldn't find that other magnet, but it had attached itself to my tweezers here. So now we have the magnets onto the tweezers. Okay, so I don't know if you think that's funny, but I thought it was. So here's the end product. Is that just beautiful? You know, I gotta start using my distress markers more. I really do. I'm using, you know, a good amount of glue because it's watercolor paper and it needs a little bit of extra help when you're putting it on your card. Okay, flip it over. And I'm going to put this on. It's just a tiny bit smaller than the black. You'll see here in a minute. I'm going to make that even. And with it being the glue, I can make the adjustments that I need to make. Oh my gosh, that turned out so pretty. You know, it's not real fancy or anything, but it's just very simple and the colors turned out wonderful. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I will get back to you. And thanks so much for stopping by.